That's what I'm working on.
I can't read the time to pick up.
Well, we've already had that discussion. We'll probably
We tried to do it. No, I think this is our opportunity to listen to do
Part of the fellowship.
Monitor all the things in the meeting, and it was a mess.
Well, we're not really doing the Zoom, we're doing a regular YouTube channel, so people can't come comment online to us like you would in Zoom, but still, we don't even have the link to.
Oh, why not?
And then ask.
Yours, mine?
Yes, I can now.
I have
Brother,
this part of my
Brian?
opening remarks.
Deb, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Are we good? Ms. Hill, did we also post the link to the meeting? I've gotten a couple of text messages asking how to join.
India's gonna.
India's doing it?
Facebook, but. The opportunity for public comment to submit their-
I understand. I think people are just wanting to listen.
Right, it's how we've done every other board meeting.
Okay, so it's already been, India put it out?
We're live on Facebook, we're live on YouTube and it's
Okay.
on Facebook, also check that 21.
Okay, I appreciate that. All right, then, it is 9:03. So I'm gonna call to order the Board of Aldermen special meeting for today, which is Saturday, May 15th. Can I ask if I can have a motion to approve the agenda?
I make a motion, we approve the agenda as presented.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, well then we're going to move into the public hearing portion of our meeting. But before that, I wanted to just say a few words. First of all, I wanted to thank everybody for coming out today. It's extremely nice to see real people in the audience and not be confined to such a small room with COVID. We appreciate you taking your time to come out and share your thoughts on the consideration of the municipal service district for our Phase 5 area in relation to our opportunity to participate in the federal project to continue to protect our shoreline and infrastructure from erosion and storm damage. This public hearing is our opportunity to listen to you. So it's not a question and answer period. It's our opportunity to hear your thoughts and consideration of the project. And just listen. That's what we're going to be doing today. So we as a board are going to hold off on our comments until the end of the question and answer period, well, end of the open forum where everybody gets to speak. I know that those who were not able to attend in person today did send in some emails, correspondence, which will also be read. So hopefully today will be a good representation of how the residents of North Topsail Beach feel about the municipal service district. The comments need to be related to the municipal service districts. That's what this hearing is for today. Okay, so with that in mind, do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All
I
right.
think they are having a hard time hearing us in the back. Not that we're going to be speaking right now, but they didn't hear everything.
Can you guys hear me in the back?
It's difficult.
It's difficult. Most of the folks are going to be speaking up here with the mic. So I think we'll get started with whoever has signed up first, and then we'll see if that helps. How about that? Okay. Yes, sir. Who's got the sign up sheet? Who is first?
Is Stuart Gilman?
And whoever comes up, if you could repeat your name and your address, that'd be very helpful.
Mayor, Aldermen, and fellow citizens, thank you for the opportunity to address you today. I want to have my comments in two parts, and I know I have 3 minutes, so I'll be very careful.
Your name and your address, sir?
Stuart Gilman,
Yes, sir.
3618 Island Drive, North Topsail Beach. Thank you. Is the mic on or no? I have a pretty loud voice, so. Yeah. Okay. Again, thank you. When we talk about the municipal service district, I have written to council about my concerns, but I want to narrowly focus on two issues. First, the necessity of the MSD is a result of the Army Corps offer for refurbishment of the beach. The city did a study, and we received copies of it about 6 months ago, saying that it was a really bad idea. And then that suddenly flip-flopped and we were supporting it. Since FEMA already refurbishes the beach, I'm not sure what motivated anybody here to even think about this project, since the FEMA does not require that level of matching funds. My second issue is the concept of the MSD for this town as it is. Metropolitan service districts sound great because they're affecting other people. But in fact, they open a can of worms for all of us. Up and down the coast, from New Jersey to Florida, MSDs have been used, for example, to get rid of by taxation mobile home parks, prefab housing. They tax people in wetlands for maintaining the wetlands if you're on the other side of the island. They've been used, and I will argue, for very, very pernicious purposes. And I urge you, I do not oppose a tax, but I think the concept of beginning to identify certain groups, certain places for taxation or higher taxation, I think is a really bad idea. And I think taxation, as all of you know, can actually destroy our ability to live on this island, depending on how high it goes. And I would urge you, as we think about the MSDs, I will quote Benjamin Franklin during the Revolution with a slightly different context, in which he said, we have a choice, we can hang separately or hang together. I think that MSDs will have us all hang separately. And I would urge you, I don't understand the logic of you moving forward with the project, but if you do so, we all need to pay our fair share of taxes. Thank you for your time and your attention.
Thank you, sir.
Bill O'Donnell.
Bill O'Donnell, 3612 Island Drive, and Alderman 1999 to 2003. I have lived oceanfront on Topsail Island for 39 years. I have yet to see a renourishment project that works or is still there after 4 or 5 years. It's totally a waste of money. None of us were asked if we wanted this project. All of a sudden, as Stu said, there was a flip-flop on the board. Historically, any projects have been paid for by the whole town. I live in this new district. For years, we paid for projects up at New River Inlet. Nobody complained about it. It was our town and we did it. And I don't know why all of a sudden we're doing this. I think an important point to realize is that because of the property value of oceanfront land lots, a 1 cent increase in tax rate is 1 cent for people across the road from me, but because my land is worth so much, it's 3 cents increase for me already without having a separate district to even double that increase. And my understanding is from Rick that none of you even live in this area where we're talking about, but most of us don't want it. We have the safest place on the island where I live. That doesn't mean it's totally safe, but people further north have much more need of these projects than we do. And we don't need it, we don't want it, it's ridiculously expensive. And if possible, I'd ask you to just chuck the whole thing, let us deal with FEMA the way we did over the years, but get rid of this core project. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, sir.
Leonard Fitzwater.
Leonard Fitzwater, 3622 Island Drive. Thank you for this opportunity. I would congratulate the 2 preceding speakers. They have done an excellent job of congealing my sentence. But to rephrase and review, number 1, let us be very cautious about how we reach into the pockets of the citizens of this island. Let's be very judicious about what bills we create. If in fact the community wants this guarantee or this insurance policy of additional sand at at appropriate times, then let us bear the cost evenly and deeply so that no one is segregated out of this situation. Again, the 2 preceding speakers did an excellent job. Appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Rebecca Dixon.
Rebecca, Ms. Dixon, you know you get 3 minutes, not 20.
Oh, I'm determined to use every minute of that 3 minutes. Rebecca Dixon, 113 Barton Bay Court. I am adamantly opposed to this whole expenditure, a 50-year commitment in which time we know exactly what the cost will be. Each and every year is a ridiculous consideration for this board to make. I would like to invite all of you citizens to go to the South End Fire Hall. If we're going to be spending any money in this town, it needs to be our infrastructure in the form of buildings. That is where we need to focus at this time. We get sand, we get sand when we need it. We have to fight hard for that sand, but go to the South End. The steel beams are rotted through. Our firemen have to get buckets to get the water while they're sleeping. Look at the ceiling of this building. Look at Town Hall. We've not addressed those costs over the years, and now we're going to commit to a 50-year expenditure for sand that cannot be, like you gentlemen said, permanent. It's not, sand's not a permanent issue. We need to get back to taking care of our town and the citizens. We can do that by starting to charge for the residents that don't live in our town put that $1 million to use to help pay for the continuing support of our buildings and our employees. That's where I am in this issue. I think we need to let go of this project. It's a failed project. We can't commit to it. Nobody's committing to a specific amount of money over the 50 years. We don't have the money for what we need to pay for, and yet we're going to commit to a minimum of $3 million and some over 50 years. That's about all I have to say. I support the residents. I support all of you. No matter what, I like you. Even though I come and I give you a hard time, I do like you and I respect you and I know how much time it takes out of your personal life. But I feel the need to address these issues. I care about the men and women that work for us. I care about you, but a 50-year commitment with money that we don't have to tax people for sand that they're gonna lose. I live in zone 2. We have never, even up to this year, received one drip of sand, not one in all these years, 2, 3, and 4. Right now, they're pushing sand. Well, we've been skipped over because there's more sand needed down toward the fishing pier. So it was supposed to happen last year. It was supposed to happen last November. We're not going to probably see sand until next November. And our dunes, who knows what condition after the storms. But you know what? I'm all about the whole town, and we need to look at the whole town. We need to look at our employees. You're all valuable. Our board's valuable, but we need to look at the whole town, and we need to go back to supporting our whole town before we start to focus on a 50-year plan for sand that's never going to stay where we put it. Did I beat my 3 minutes this time? I don't know, but I am the Southland Fire Hall. You will be shocked. None of us would live in that condition. And yet we expect the men and women that we hire to stick with us through those kind of conditions. I'm done. I'm off my.
Thank you, Ms. Dixon. Who's next? sir?
Lisa Kozlowski.
Hello, I'm Lisa Kozlowski, and I live at 1524 Walking Street. First, thank you for the opportunity to speak on the issues of creating MSDs, taxes, and the beach replenishment project. I am truly disappointed by our Board of Aldermen. While you see the south end of North Topsail Beach as directly benefiting from this project, and we should be the ones paying for it, I see a beach replenishment project to benefit the entire town. Considering the major issues with the North End's erosion problems, this project, while needed, is financially out of the entire town's league, let alone the last 4 miles of town. There are many things wrong with how and why this decision is made. First, when a project is done in a small town such as ours, it benefits the entire town. If you're going to create 1 or 2 MSDs, then you should create them for the entire town. 2 for the south end for this project, 2 for the north end for their erosion problems, and the whole town can stop paying for that. 2 in the center of town to pay for the issue that will arise in being in the middle of a Moore beach to the south and an ever waning of the beach to the north. That will leave the general fund for improvement projects and general maintenance and repairs. That is the only fair way. That way, the town will be prepared for the costs. Second, the Board of Aldermen are practicing taxation without representation. All of the board members live north of Town Hall. When the board has been given opportunity for the south end to have a voice at the table and create a balance on the board, you consistently choose not to. So you decide the MSD based on the fact that it will not hurt your pocketbooks and do not care about the burden you will be placing on the last 4 miles of town. If you truly believe in this project, you would have the whole town share in this burden, as the whole town has shared in the erosion project for the north end for years. Third, having to foot the bill for the county access located in the 4 mile project area without county assistance, the burden is increased on the 4 mile stretch of the project. There is a terrible relationship between the town and the county, and both sides are to blame. While I live here, I work for the county and can see the shared blame. The town and the county are acting like the Democrats and Republicans in our federal government. Both sides are not willing to work to compromise and find a solution or to listen. Each side believes they are right and their side is the only correct way. How can anything be accomplished this way? Mending fences to create a common goal will go a long way. Can you do that? If so, why hasn't it been done? Have you started the process to apply for the county's tourism grants? Fourth, while you are promoting the paid parking will offset the cost of the beach replenishment project. Will all the funds be used for this purpose? Is there a separate line to dedicate all the funds generated by it to the beach project only? How long before you, our aldermen, decide to use the funds for something else? Fifth, we have been residents of the town for more than 3 years. We do not receive an MSD letter. The only reason we have seen it is because of our access to the website.
Ma'am, we have with 3-minute limit, so if you could just close.
Okay,
Or you can submit them in
I just wanted to say that I've lived here, I wanted to come live here because it's a great town. And I hope that you guys have heard my voice
Mhm.
better than the county commissioners listen to the North Topsail Beach Fleet.
Thank you. Who's next?
Eagle.
And Scott.
Sorry.
I live at 204 Porta Vista Drive. I've also been a member of the planning board for the last 5 years. Everyone, I agree with pretty much what everyone has said. Our property would not be valuable without the beach. We understand that. We want to maintain the beach. I have lived up and down the coast, and I think there's only 3 ways to maintain the beach, and that is you either push sand, you dredge sand, or you truck it in. And if you get a bad enough hurricane, the sand is gone. That's the only way that you maintain it. I went back through the minutes of the Board of Aldermen since 2010. And there's no mention pretty much of anything for the south end until around 2015, when we were fortunate enough to get the USDA loan to re-engineer our stretch of beach, which then made us allowable to get, I forget what the terminology is, for FEMA, what is it called?
G.
Category G.
That was just done, not just done, but it was done several years ago. And now we're going to take on an enormous financial project to re-nourish phase 5. I would just like to say, as far as dealing with the federal government, which I have a fair amount of experience with in my previous profession, is that they can cut funding anytime they want to. It needs an executive order from the president. It's gone. The money's gone. The costs are gonna go up every year. Who's gonna fix the beach after a hurricane? Is that a FEMA responsibility, or is that gonna be the federal project? And to just say one other thing. You approve this, you're gonna be starting a massive project, an expensive project. We don't have a town manager. We don't have an experienced town manager. And I do think that position is essential to guide a small town like this. And the other thing I would say to you is that as you think of other projects, how is the town gonna raise money? Are they just gonna keep taxing people? We don't have a commercial basis like Surf City does. So I mean, it's time to think about the future of this town. And if, we live by that fire station on the south end. We know what it looks like. I've gone in there to talk to different people for different issues. And one other thing I want to say, whether we approve this project or not, we maintain the beaches the best we can. We need to keep people off those dunes in the
3
summer.
minutes.
We spend all this money, we have people camping on the dunes. So I mean, to me, that's just poor management. Poor management of a vital resources in tax money.
Okay.
You guys really need to think about what you're doing here. And if we do it, the whole town needs to be taxed.
Okay,
That's
3
it.
minutes. Thank you.
George Spicer.
My name is George Fieser, 206 Seashore Drive, Phase 5. I hear this term dramatically beneficial. That seems to be the key words that I hear to unfairly tax or create an MSD. You're dividing the town. When I was driving here on New River Inlet, I saw a park, I saw a playground, and I saw tennis courts. Phase 5 doesn't have any of those benefits. If we go through and divide the town with the taxes, anything that the north end does, that should be the same way. I can't believe we're doing this. I don't know how many of you know as well about a community called Ocean City. It's a historic community that's been here way before we were even born. To create a higher tax for this historic African-American community, just because they live there? Just because they live there. How will the ACLU and the NAACP, and I don't know if the press is here, how do they view that? How are we going to be viewed by other towns in our area? That's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir.
Bob, want to take?
I'm Swanpeck, 3772 Island Drive. I've been here 18 years. I've been an alderman. I'm against all these projects. I've always been against most of the projects. I'd like to start off with a phrase that I've been hearing from certain people for the last 10 years, that the beach is in our name. And that's why people come here. The beach is all of ours. It's not just phase 5, phase 2, phase 3. If you're gonna put an MSD onto the island, it should be equal. Oceanfront, second row, third row. Well, we got a quarter of a mile wide island. If something happens to the dunes, everybody's got it, not just the front. Sure. And that, so it should be, the tax should be equal across the board. The oceanfront people already pay more taxes because of our houses are, of course, worth more. We maintain the beach. We maintain the beach by putting fences. We put plantings. We don't ask for help from them. We just do it because that's the way it's supposed to be. And we know that. But everybody else benefits from them. So everybody should be equal when it comes to taxation. I've watched all the phases on phase 5. I've watched all the phases up on the north end. Never once did we do anything up on the north end. Everybody pays taxes for that. We still owe a lot of money up there. The sandbags aren't gone. The tube underneath still sits there. We have gone so many different projects that failed. The sand that's up on the north end right now, go up there and look at what's happened to it. It's almost gone. It's not there anymore. So my main thing is, if you're gonna put MSDs, everybody should be equal. Not oceanfront pay 60%, not second row pay 40%. It should be all 50-50, all the way across the board. We all share in that beach.
Thank you, sir.
Lou Gagliano.
Lou Gagliano, 114 and 118 Bermuda Line, Village of Stone Sound. I'm here representing myself, 30 years of owning beachfront properties. I pay annually $2,500 out of my pocket to support the dunes. Dunes will stay if you plant them. They don't stay if you don't plant them. That has been our experience. I'm here also representing the Village of Stone Sound and 116 tax-paying members. The vast majority of our community believes in beach stability. I want to speak about two issues that really bother us. One is the issue of the establishment of the MSD, the fact that it has been out of sync with what has been done in the past to support other districts is a clear definition of a change in policy. I also want to speak about the disproportionate taxation of people who are beachfront or on one side of 210 and on the other side. We all benefit from beach stability. I've been here through Fran and Bertha. This island was a disaster. Its property values went down dramatically for a long period of time. If you look at the average cost or the average assessed value proportionate on the beachfront side of 210 versus those on the other side, it's already 55 to 60% higher. Therefore, to put another tax on top of that is illogical. It is not logical. If we are going to change policy going forward, I think we need to examine not only the planning issues for the entire town, but also a charter change. The charter change should define tax and policies going forward and the benefit definition. And if we are going to further bifurcate within a district, those principles should be established in a charter change. As to representation, I would say that if we are going to begin to formally change taxing policies within this town, we need to elect aldermen by district, and that also requires a charter change. In summary, we are not against beach stability in the Village of Stone Sound. We're interested in fair and logical management of this town going forward. And if we're going to change policies, we ought to stabilize those and the charter change, both in terms of this issue of MSD benefit, bifurcation of taxation rates within districts, so that future aldermen don't have to debate what to do. And we need representation by districts. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Larry Struther.
I thought I was signing up for a drawing. No, I didn't. I just thought that was a sign-in sheet. Everybody said everything I can say.
Kathleen Baker.
She does a drawing. I really don't have a whole lot to say, but I do feel that equal taxation and taxation without representation. I moved here from the DC area. They don't have it, and I'd like to see it here. I moved here because this is a beautiful island. I've adapted to North Carolina ways, but I do see problems with keep on doing the same thing over and over and over again and seeing a different, expecting a different result doesn't work. I'm just saying that we need to be fair and we need to put our minds together and our heads together and find something that's more permanent rather than taxing us to, most of us are retirees, taxing us to move us off the island, you know, because we can't afford it anymore is a ridiculous way to go. And I just expect a little bit better out of this town. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
343 New River Inlet Road.
Thank you.
Tom, I'm gonna do the best I can. Tom Durer.
Tom Fuhrer, 3756 Highland Drive. Do we know the true cost of this project? Army Corps is funded by the federal government. The federal government doesn't have to be too concerned when prices go up. Does the Corps guarantee that the cost will not increase exponentially over the course of this project? I'm sure they don't. And I've never seen a government project be completed within budgeted costs. Onslow County owns a large section of the beach located within the southern 4 miles of North Topsail Beach. Is the county going to pay for the portion of the beach that the Army Corps project entails? The county doesn't want to allow North Topsail Beach to keep the 3% of their occupancy tax, but they're reaping the benefits of this project. I also understand, just as a side note, that there's an issue with public parking, and I hope that that public parking that they have counts as our required number of parking spaces. Since we've owned property at North Topsail Beach for the past 5 years, the county tax rate has been 70.5 cents per $100 valuation, and the North Topsail Beach has been 40.5 cents per $100 valuation. Now the Board of Aldermen, who all live in the northern part of North Topsail Beach, and not in the area that they want to designate these MSDs, want to randomly decide how much our property taxes will go up based on homes on the east side of Island Drive and the west side of Island Drive. When I asked why the different rates for each side of Island Drive, I was told that beachfront homes can rent for more and have higher resale value. Well, that's our permanent home and we don't rent. We can't raise our rent, and we're not selling it, so don't reap any benefits of the higher value. Obviously, taxes have to go up to raise revenue to pay for this, but I'm opposed to this project if the town is separating the phase 5 into 2 MSDs and not 1 MSD. All residents or renters enjoy the use of the beach regardless of the location of the home in that area of the town. Raising our tax rate by 54 to 91 cents per $100 valuation, which is some numbers I saw on the website over the past couple of months, is a massive increase, and not one board member has to even consider paying it themselves. Homes that are oceanfront already have a higher tax assessment and pay proportionally higher taxes based on that assessment. So making the property owners pay on the ocean side of Island Drive at a significantly higher rate is not a fair method of raising property taxes, considering that all residents and their guests and renters benefit from this beach. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, Kenneth Chestnut, 476 Ocean Drive. I'm here representing the Ocean City community. We have other members, residents here as well. And I had 4 points I wanted to make. The first one, though, a previous speaker talked about the Ocean City community, and we don't see it as this as being about the Ocean City community. It's really about the MSD. The Ocean City community has been here since 1949. We've seen it all. We've seen Hurricane Hazel, we've seen beach erosion, you name it. And so this is not we're not introducing Ocean City as for special consideration or discussion for this purpose. There are just 4 points. One is, I think with the MSD, and I'm speaking in opposition to the MSD, not the federal project, the MSD creates further division within the North Topsail. We already have, north and south ends, but this creates further division. The second thing is the oceanfront property owners already pay a premium because of the fact that the land and the lots are more expensive. So we pay a higher price, the oceanfront property owners already because of where it is. The third point is that obviously, as previous speaker said, everyone benefits, from the beach and the beach nourishment project. This would look like it did in 1949 when I was a kid, if we didn't have the oceanfront. And so certainly everyone's here because of the oceanfront. Everyone benefits from that. Everyone generates revenues if they do rent, but certainly that's the reason we're here. And then the last is we're setting, I think, a precedent that should be considered. If we start segregating components of the beach based on the projects and funding of projects, that's gonna set a precedent that you may want to think about down the road. Because it's gonna be, as another project comes up, whether that's the north end or whatever, then you're gonna carve out segments of North Topsail and have a disproportionate compensation or disproportionate contribution to those projects. So those are the comments in opposition to the establishment of the MSD. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Chris and Celeste Lassen.
Okay, I'll tell you what.
Can we get your address?
Everybody's talking about tax.
Can we get your address, sir? Sir, before you start, address.
Chris Lassen, 102 Calinda K Court.
Thank you.
Okay, now, we're forgetting a big thing here. We've got a tremendous asset here. They're called tourists. Now, in many towns around, they tax the tourists and they don't tax the citizens. So, a lot of houses charge $2,000 a week. Now, my calculator broke, it's on my fingers, you know, and times that by 10, there's a lot of houses like that. And they should be taxed for everything. So therefore, I think that really you guys should consider that. Tax the tourists because they have plenty of money to come here. And we've been here since spring, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
That's all I had signed up unless somebody signed up.
Is there anybody here today in the audience that would like to speak that hasn't had an opportunity? Yes, sir.
I submitted a letter.
They're going to read the letters as well. Anybody that, yes, sir.
Paul Dixon, 113 Barton Bay. I think y'all heard my wife earlier, and I just want to express her an agreement with everything that she said. However, the only thing I really want to say here today is we heard a lot from people in phase 5, and I can understand that. I wouldn't want an additional tax. I mean, I'd be in favor of the tax if somebody else is going to pay it. So I really don't want to say anything about that. I do want to say something to all the people at the south end of the town, though. I've lived here for 3 years, we've owned for 9 years, and they all said, all you were from the north end. Whose fault is that? That's your fault. Every November, there's an election. These people are all up for election this next year. If you want to be on the board, run. If you want to win, get all your neighbors to vote for you. But don't come here and complain that you're not making decisions for the town. None of you stuck your name out there and said, I want to run the town. I want to they put a hell of a lot of hours in. That's the reason I'm not on that board. I retired here. I didn't come here to work. Now, Becky puts a lot of volunteer time in, and I support it. You're not going to see me doing that. Okay? And I understand you all being here because of the increase in taxes and wanting everybody to pay for the sand. I think it's ridiculous what the Corps wants to do and divide this town up. If the Corps wants to help this beach, they should have said, we want to do it for the whole thing, not for 4 miles of beach. That's baloney. And we go back to the Corps and say, hey, you want to help us? It should be for the whole beach or hit the pike. We'll get FEMA, we'll work with FEMA over the next 10, 15 years and build our own beach back. And if it's $3 million a year, then everybody pays it. But don't come here and blame them for being on the board that they decided to spend hours and hours working every week for all of you, and you all had that same opportunity to be on the board. And I think every one of them is up for election this year. And they'd very much like to enjoy the beach instead of spending hours down there at town hall. So that's all I have to say. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else like to speak? Cameron, go ahead.
Cameron People, 3902 River Road. I think we have some long-term problems here that probably should have been sorted out like 2 or 3 years ago. I think we need to think really hard with Surf City college. We need to separate ourselves from their decisions. This is a joint project with Surf City to serve Topsail Island. We don't have an island-wide, that I'm aware of, shoreline person that helps us with this stuff. So we've gotten into bed with Surf City, and we're gonna be in bed with them for 50 years now. And last time I checked at the south end, there's lots of dunes down there. You're getting a lot of protection already. I don't see any dunes up here on the north end, about the last mile. Where's that protection? You guys are sitting behind some big dunes down there. I think we made a bad decision to get into bed with Surf City on this. We should have had some more foresight before we start laying out 50-year project plans and spending millions. I think this could have been better looked at. We probably could have had some better personnel together to help construct this, planning of this project. I mean, you guys are getting what you want down there in the south end. You want bigger dunes and bigger beaches. I would love to get some of y'all down here then and tell you to walk to the St. Regis. You can hardly do it at low tide. You can't do it at high tide. So where's our stuff? We're in an inlet hazard area. Anything that gets worked on up there is going to have a lot of cost sharing involved. You're in a doggone inlet, serves the military, serves those shrimpers that seems fair. So we don't have anything up here. And it's like the last speaker just said. Y'all want your own boat district down there? How many residents are down there? Where y'all gonna get 20 boats for a person? That's gonna come up here and represent y'all. We got 5 people up here representing the town. Any of y'all can get up here, take their spot. Think something ain't doing right, get up here and take their spot. You live in the south end, you're gonna have to convince a lot of people at the north end to vote for you. How you gonna do that? I think this project should have been well far better in the past, but we're in it now. So what do? We gotta pay. We're gonna have to figure out a way to pay for this project that Surf City and everything south of us will probably get the benefit of. Because where's all the sand moved? To the south. So there was a great project just finished up at the north end. We got a lot of sand now. How long is it gonna last? Who knows? But getting what you want at the south. You get a way better beach, you get better dunes. Taxes gonna have to go up. They're probably gonna have to go up here again. They just went up last year. So if you guys don't like it, vote these guys out.
Thank you, Cameron. Yes, ma'am.
My name's Terry Ward. I live at 154 Ocean View Lane. And I agree with a lot of what everyone said. The only thing I wanted to add is that we're in phase 4, which also is a Cobra. I live there permanently. We don't rent. It's our only home. We're dying in this home. Sorry, fire department. But my point is that when Florence came through, we ended up with a breach in our dune. My husband and I personally had to pony up $10,000 to bring in sand to repair that dune. We did that because it protects our house, it protects the island, it protects our neighbors. I don't like the project idea, but I also, and I don't know how you're gonna figure this out. You're better people than I could be to do this. But then to add another tax onto us when we're already replacing our dunes and we already have to take care of our dunes because we're Cobra, until that changes, FEMA's not gonna help us out. And so I just want that perspective to add to your mix of all the other myriad of things you have to figure out. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
How's everybody doing? All right. Perry Green, 119 Old Village Lane, Village of Stump Sound. First of all, I just wanted to say, I wanted to speak for the people who couldn't be here this morning. And that's the people who are going to end up paying for this in the end. And those are my 4 sons. 50 years, I'll be dead. And they'll have it. So what I want to say this morning is simply this. I moved here in 1966. Started coming to this beach in the 70s. Moved away, came back, gone for 34 years. This island is still here. I love this island. Came here every summer as a kid. I watched Marines drown in the inlet. I watched them bomb offshore. I watched everything happen here because I love this place. Sand comes, sand goes. At the end of the day, what this is about is having a better plan. Hurricanes are gonna come. I've been here since the first hurricane in the 60s. When we first got here, there were hurricanes. And they've been bad. And I remember when the road moved. This island's still here. What it comes down to is this. We gotta work together. If we don't know what to do, let's go get subject matter experts that know what to do. We're citizens. This is not in our bailiwick sometimes to have the knowledge to get some of this done. We have to go get outside information and outsiders to come in and help us. And I will say this too. I grew up here in Onslow County. The commissioners have been the same way since I first got here. It hasn't changed. So we've got to band together. If you want to fight somebody, hell, let's go fight the commissioners. Get our damn money. That's who we should be fighting. I just wanted to say that. I apologize for cursing. But my sons are gonna have to pay for this. And I think we've got to do a better job of planning and working together and not throwing sand at each other. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else? Last call for in person. Ms. Hill, are you reading the letters today? Who's reading the letters?
Caitlin.
Oh, Caitlin's reading. I'm sorry. She's so quiet back there.
I'm going to be reading the letters that were emailed in for public comment to the clerk for the minutes. This is from Teresa Ryan. It states, please do not add to my tax bill saying I will get enhanced beach protection if there isn't a plan in place to ensure that beach goers from other areas are prevented from destroying this protection. Now I hear you saying, that's not fair, we can't do that. Well, how is it fair for a small group to be required to bear the monetary burden of something many benefit from? Please consider sharing the burden with all if all are going to share the benefit. I have your letter. Would you guys like me to read your letter?
With our comments, I think covered everything.
Okay,
in the letter, but
okay.
yes.
Yes.
It's available online, right?
I believe if I read it, it'll get put into the minutes, so then that will be available.
Post it. We can
Okay.
post it. We can post it.
You can post it too. So this is from Leonard Fitzwater, 3622 Island Drive, Stuart Gilman, 3618 Island Drive, and William O'Donnell, 3612 Island Drive. We would like to begin by stating that we support the federal storm damage mitigation project. Keeping the island safe from significant storm damage benefits all property owners throughout North Top Beach. We all profit if the beach can be protected. Our concern is with the proposed municipal service districts. These have been proposed in the past and were rejected as unfair to all of those involved. While the berm was installed on the north end of the island, all of us paid for it. The town has never divided the tax burden for specific individuals to pay more. The inequities in moving forward with the current MSD plan opens a Pandora's box of unequal and biased treatment in the future. There are several additional reasons we oppose the MSD plan. First, beachfront homes are appraised at 25 to 40% more than the homes on the intercoastal waterway side of Island Drive. Therefore, those homeowners already pay significantly more tax than those in the second, third, and fourth rows. Secondly, the MSD division appears to suggest that owners not on the beach do not use it or use it rarely. The assumption seems to be people move to North Topsail to sit in their homes to look at other homes and don't use the beach. In fact, the everyday mass movement of people across Island Drive to the beach, especially in the summer, attests to the broad use by everyone on the island. Third, this proposed MSD plan targets a very small proportion of properties, victimizing not only beachfront owners, but those caught between the beach and Island Drive. The additional burden is not being placed fairly or equitably on all properties on North Topsail Beach. Fourth, the intercoastal waterway side of Island Drive has experienced a building room of party houses hosting weddings, birthdays, and other celebrations. Several of these dwellings advertise on VRBO with 7 to 8 bedroom homes, sleeping 30 or more people. The renters from the intercoastal waterway side at times overwhelm the beach. Last year, one of us actually had people putting umbrellas and chairs on the dune next to a "Do not walk on the dune" sign. They complained that there was not enough room on the beach. Those who own these party homes benefit immensely from the beach. Fifth, the distinction between one side of Island Drive and the other appears to be arbitrary and capricious. Why not have MSDs based on the number of bedrooms, the number of square feet in the house, the size of the lot, or those north of the High Bridge, where many of the homes are threatened, and south of the High Bridge? Sixth, there is likely chance that the decision creating the MSDs in the way proposed would be appealed in court. In such an instance, the plaintiffs could request the court to hold all additional tax refunds from the town until litigation was resolved. Robert O'Donnell was successful in winning a case against Nag's Head before the Supreme Court of North Carolina, so there is precedence for cases of this kind. The court ordered treble damages to the plaintiffs. It could result in fact-finding as to the various interests in supporting this decision to divide the MSDs at either side of Island Drive. The result could be that North Topsail Beach would be more financially stressed than it currently is. We do not want this to happen. In summary, we urge you to have a common increased tax rate affecting all property owners in the same way. We all equally benefit from the beach. Arguing contrary to this appears to be an argument built on quicksand and interests other than the welfare of the town of North Topsail Beach. Let us together all support beach nourishment without dividing the island into contentious groups. Thank you all for your consideration. Sip of water. Okay, this is from Topsail Reef Homeowners Association Board of Directors. Dear Board of Aldermen, we, the HOA Board of Topsail Reef, represent 239 unit owners and would like this letter to read into the record during the May 15, 2021 hearing concerning the possible creation of 2 municipal service districts in the southern end of North Topsail Beach to help with the town's share of funding for the federal project in the same portion of the beach. Most of our homeowners live elsewhere and cannot attend. We would like for you to know that we are in favor of the town's creation of the 2 MSDs. We understand that the entire town is still paying for an $18 million federal project done in 2015 in that same exact area, and will get more sand this fall from Lowe's due to Florence. It is not right to have our taxes raised for this project when we have no beach at all at high tide. Sincerely, Topsail Reef HOA Board of Directors. The next letter is from Mike Yawn. Hello, I am in favor of setting up the MSDs as proposed, but I think it would be smart to go ahead and set up similar MSDs for the 4 other phases so the town will be prepared to use them for future beach projects, most significantly the terminal boring project for the north end, should it come to fruition. Thanks, Mike Yawn. This is from Dawn and Burgess Adelson. I have a question and a comment. Question. Over all the years, what's the total amount of North Topsail Beach money that's been spent on projects that have taken place north of the bridge? I hope you have this answer handy. If not, how can you possibly vote on this topic without knowing that one basic fact? Commentary. I think that the Beach Nourishment Project is one of the most important projects facing the town of North Topsail Beach. Unfortunately, I'm increasingly worried that fighting over how to pay for it will cause the project to be scrapped. That cannot be allowed to happen. I get it that people living on the north end of the town might feel that a great injustice is done when the money goes to one end of the town and not the other. I get it that they might want to insist that a special tax setup should be established to make sure that the people are getting all benefits should pay more. What I don't get is this. Why should North Topsail Beach create the special tax only when the south end benefits and not when the north end benefits?
I genuinely believe that the taxes should be spent where the need is. Taxes will be spent in one place one day, and the next day they'll be spent somewhere else. That's how spending works. But why does this principle only apply when the north end benefits and not apply when the south end benefits? Maybe the scales are tilting this year towards the south end. I get that, but you know what? The scales tilted towards the north end for decades with no special tax. Now it's going to tilt the other direction for a while with no special tax. Don't get me wrong, I'm frustrated over the millions that have been spent on projects on the north end of the island, projects that don't benefit the whole town and that sometimes don't even succeed. I'm frustrated that now there's a big project to benefit the south end. The folks on the north end are done with sharing. I'm also frustrated that Onslow County and the other outside agencies are not chipping in the way that they have supported others. I'm frustrated that the taxing plan seems to be unbalanced, placing an extraordinary burden on those of us who live south of the bridge and reversing the exact principles that were applied when paying for north end projects. I am frustrated that this impasse has gotten so bad that it threatens the very boundaries of the town. I am encouraged by the belief that we all want this project to happen. Quality of the beach is consistently the single most important priority of town residents. We all know that this project is a once in a lifetime opportunity. We all know that if we somehow fail to move this project forward, that we will likely be perceived as not wanting beach improvement projects. Future projects will be cut off. We would likely be excluded even from conversations about future projects. This project must be approved. If the only way forward is to levy taxes on the residents who will directly benefit, no matter how unfair or unbalanced, then I am strongly in favor of such taxes. I believe that it is a violation of both trust and principles to declare that this is the only way to move forward. But if those are the conditions of this fight, then I strongly support the taxes. We must move forward. Dawn and Burgess Allison. One more second. All right.
It's really boxy, y'all.
I thought that dried out your throat.
Okay, this is the last letter from, and I'm sorry, I'm going to mispronounce this, but Janelle Stovall. To whom it may concern, I recently received a letter from the town in regards to the proposed municipal service district for phase 5. As a property owner in the proposed area, I'm concerned that the argument proposed to tax phase 5 as an entirely different from the rest of North Topsail. One, we must remember that the dune system protects the entire island. There are areas of North Topsail that are only a quarter of a mile wide. If we remember Fran, Bertha, Floyd, and Florence, all major hurricanes that damaged the dune structure, it was not only oceanside properties that were damaged. In areas where the dunes were blown, homes across Island Drive received damage as well. Let us not forget Hurricane Floyd, where the island was sectioned into 4 areas due to the flooding, a catastrophe which threatened the entire island. Number 2, we also cannot forget again that in certain areas the island is only a quarter mile wide. So if erosion continues, it threatens the existence of not only Highway 210, but the existence of the entire island. If phase 5 does not exist, the northern north end would be an isolated island. Let us learn from our neighbors up north in the Outer Banks as we see the efforts that erosion has had on Highway 12, which affects the entire island. Number 3, the letter also mentions the fire department and public works storage garage. These are municipalities owned by the town and benefit all citizens of North Topsail, not just phase 5. Number 4, it is highly unfortunate that phases 1 through 4 were not considered by the federal government for aid. However, we also must consider the substantial studies that were done on the northern end of Topsail that were completed prior to development of the area, and the results highly discouraged development in the area due to the erosion that we are now seeing. Studies have further shown that even with all the current technologies we have, there is no beneficial solution to help the northern end without damaging another northern neighbor. Number 5, we also must remember that the neighborhoods of Ocean City and Stump Sound are some of the original entities on the island. No studies were done to suggest the risk of erosion, and in fact, we have lost an entire row of homes. Phase 5 waited patiently as other efforts were made to help save other areas of the island, and individual homeowners have borne the duty of sand pushes, planting COs and Christmas trees to preserve or rebuild dunes that should have been the responsibility of government. At a time where our island has become increasingly popular, it is time to work together to show the true value of the town. In our neighborhood of Ocean City, we have a theme, #OceanCityStrong, where we help each other and repair dunes, knowing it benefits us all. At a time like this, why not say #NorthTopsailStrong and band together to save our own town versus putting the onus on a few citizens. As a family, we've owned property for over 50 years and we love our island. We don't just stay in phase 5, we drive from the northern end to the south. Let's work together to save North Topsail. Respectfully, Jeanette Staball. That is all the letter.
Thank you, Caitlin. Okay, so then what we need is a motion to close the public hearing. And then we can,
I make a motion to close public hearing.
do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then what I wanted to do was give the board an opportunity to say thank you, or if you'd like to comment on a specific thing, we can do that. I do have a few things I'd like to say, and I'd like to go first.
3-minute limit, Mayor.
That's fine. I don't have to mention.
No.
All right, so I actually have been following all of the emails that have.
You're gonna have to go there.
2 minutes, okay, hold on, got my notes.
Just bring it over. Hey, how about we just
Yeah,
bring
can
it
we do
over?
that?
It's not gonna.
Is there a handheld somewhere?
Deb, is that a handheld that I can reach?
We're gonna have to move the speaker too.
This go,
I can come down there.
here. Yeah, but everybody's gonna need this on. Everybody's gonna need to join. I won't.
No, I think we're, okay, we could take a break after the comments.
No, I'm not doing that. Put it on. I was just joking.
I thought you needed a break.
No.
Thank you, sir. See, that's why we have the chief here. The chief. All right, can you hear me? Better? In closing, I just wanted to say a couple things. The reason we are here with you all today is because of the vocal response by citizens that are in favor of the project. To the point.
Yeah.
Gotta turn that off. Why don't you turn that off?
No, we can't.
That's the recording mic. It won't,
We
you're
can't.
streaming.
Okay. Is that- All right. I'm just gonna start. To the point that some folks were so in favor of this project that they were requesting annexation from North Topsail Beach if the project did not move forward. To consider this project, we need new revenue. We simply cannot afford this project with the town's current revenue stream. It's really that simple. A lot of you have already mentioned that the projected costs from the Army Corps of Engineer are not clear. By the time they get started in North Topsail Beach, they're certainly not going to go down. They're going to go up. We as a town are still repaying the USDA loan for the beach, as mentioned. That was done in 2015 in the same project area. We also need to determine how we're going to provide an additional 400 parking spaces for the Army Corps of Engineer for their project requirements. We recently removed most of the side street parking in phase 5 due to safety concerns and the inability to get rescue vehicles down those side streets. We, as a board, do not want to implement that side street parking again. So that's a challenge that didn't come up today, but I do want you all to know that that is definitely something that is an issue for us. I also want to make it clear that we did not flip-flop on any decision. The board is performing its due diligence on the possibility of this project because we work for you, the citizens and residents in North Topsail Beach. We do this with all of our projects, such as the public safety building, which is also in its planning stage. We as a board need to balance them all, which has also been mentioned. One thing I'd like you to consider, we did put out a fact sheet yesterday that answers some of the questions that came up today. So when you have time, if you could take a look at that. The one goal of that FAQ was to visually show the upcoming beach projects that are scheduled for 2022. Phase 5 will be receiving over 630,000 cubic yards of sand on the dune and the dry sand beach, which is FEMA reimbursable because it was erosion from previous storms. So the question then in my mind is the large project already scheduled with FEMA reimbursable for next year sufficient if you do not want an MSD created to provide additional revenues to the town to be able to support this project. You already have the re-engineered beach and will continue to be working with FEMA after major storm events that cause erosion. Any of those storm events that cause erosion, again, we're able to work with FEMA, and getting sand back on the beach is reimbursable. So I think that I've covered everything I wanted to say, and I'm gonna start down here with Alderman Grant. And again, I really want to thank everybody for showing up today. It is greatly appreciated, and I'm glad that we were able to hear your thoughts on the project and the MSDs.
Can everybody hear me if I just talk up? We don't need the microphone. Everybody in the back hear me? One of the reasons you don't follow the mayor is she takes all your thunder. I was gonna say, on the fact sheet, I think it will answer a lot of questions. I know from talking to some people today, they were not aware that phase 5 is gonna get the 600,000+ cubic yards of fall plus sprigs, which is 4 times the amount that's already been done in the north in that project. So I would ask you to take a look at that. And also in the fact sheet and some of the stuff, it addresses some of the issues that are in here. The other thing we're gonna post is there seems to be a lot of different views as to how things are paid for. You know, in terms of the only debt that we have beach wise is in phase 5. The stuff that, and just for the record, I don't live in 5 and I don't live in 1, I live in the middle. Okay, so I have the Cobra Beach issue that was brought up here as well. So I would ask you to take a look at that. Also on things like, and again, we need to get more education out there, things like accommodation taxes, which is what we collect on the rentals that somebody addressed before. That's $1 million to $2 million a year that comes into the town. So we are charging those type of things. There's also a restriction on what we can use those funds for and what we can use parking funds for. All right. And there generally have to be beach renourishment stuff, not, for example, the public safety building that we're talking about. So those are things, you know, I've only been an alderman for a year. You know, as they say, 6th grade, the best 4 years of my life, between COVID and everything going on in the town. But all I would say is take a look at the facts, take a look at what's out there, all right, and the cost. And to the mayor's point is, we honestly don't know the cost of this because basically what the Corps has told us is the cost will be what they tell us this will be. And so that is a very big concern of the board in terms of what we've got going forward. So thanks everybody for coming. There's some great comments. I think the thing that struck me is the difference in opinion as to how we should go forward with this. So I'm really glad we had the hearing. So that's it. I know I don't need the microphone. Can you hear me in the back? All right. First, I appreciate everybody coming out this morning. It'd be great if after all the COVID stuff is done, we could have this kind of a turnout at a regular meeting, at our regular meetings in the future, and not just when we have a meeting that is specifically focused on something that's near and dear to everyone's heart, like their taxes going up. Okay, I'd like to address some comments that were made by you folks this morning. The first one I want to talk about is Cobra. The lady mentioned something about living in a Cobra zone, and I live in a Cobra zone too. We've been working long and hard on trying to get Cobra repealed for North Topsail Beach. It has a huge impact on what we can do in the future. It qualifies the remainder of the beach, the shoreline, for FEMA reimbursement after named storms. And right now, where we stand this year with Cobra is that our Cobra bill will be filed by Congressman Murphy this coming week. Last year, we had companion bills on Cobra in the House and in the Senate. Everything was moving really well, we thought, because not only do we have companion bills in both chambers, but we also had a Republican control of both. And I think that would have worked better for us than where we are now. And then COVID hit and the priorities across the board in Washington completely stalled things that weren't COVID related. So it hurts. But Congressman Murphy is filing our bill next week, and we'll stay on top of that and see what we can do to make it come to reality. People cited the North End project as an example of how everyone paid for a project. I want to remind everyone that the whole town, all our taxpayers, also paid for phase 5 in 2014, 2015. Okay, that was a FEMA engineered beach. That's why it's going to be restored next year by FEMA. That beach served that area of town very well in 3 named storms after it was constructed, Matthew, Florence, and Dorian. And the difference in and the beach protection that it afforded compared to the area north in phase 4 was dramatic. And I say that from being out on the beach with the fire chief and riding the dune line the day after Florence passed through here. So I didn't hear anyone mention as an example of how the whole town paid for a beach, anyone mentioning the phase 5 beach project in 14-15. Since we all talked about what happened up here, but I just want to remind everyone, y'all got a beach too. Y'all got a beach that was paid for by the town's taxpayers that we still owe $16 million on. And that $16 million that we still owe on that beach that protected that area of town during 3 major storms is why we're struggling financially with how to pay for the federal project. It really is. If we didn't have that $16 million of debt hanging over our head right now, this thing would be a lot different. The next thing is that one person stated that we still owe money up on phase 1. We don't. That debt has been retired. Gentleman back here, Mr. Fuhrer, asked a question regarding why the 2 districts and why do oceanfront potentially pay more. It's the thought of this board and it's the thought of the engineers that the closer you're located to the shoreline, the greater protection your property receives from the beach project. Gentleman asked about taxing tourists. We tax tourists to the maximum amount allowed by law. You're allowed to charge them 6% occupancy tax, and that's what we're charging. Unfortunately, as everyone knows, half of that 6% goes to Onslow County. We're working on that. We also went to Raleigh earlier this year to attempt to gain an additional 1% occupancy tax for the town. Mayor and the manager and I went up and talked to the State House Local Government Committee and asked for permission in a bill to go forward to get an additional 1 cent. It doesn't look good. I'll tell you that now. The tourism lobby wants everything, wants those percentages to remain where they are, which is why we looked at paid parking. Paid parking right now, the revenue on paid parking is exceeding expectations. It's really kicking butt. And my 3 minutes are up. I thank you all for being here. This is tough. It's tough for all of us. We're all just trying to do the right thing and do what's best for the town, the whole town. Thank you.
Alderman Benson, Mayor Pro Tem.
You might have trouble hearing me in the back. If you have trouble hearing me in the back, when I talk louder, then my wife gets mad at me. So I don't know, can you hear me back there or not? Not very well. I have.
Use a mic, get it in front of you. Mic on the mic. Mic on the mic.
Yep, that working? Okay. Mike on the mic. Mike's a retired college professor. I'd like to give just a 3 minute.
3 minutes.
No. It's a lesson that's 3 minutes and it's a comment that's 3 minutes, so 6 minutes. I want to, first thing I heard this morning was that the board just decided to do this project in the last few months. And so the education is that the Surf City North Tulsa Beach federal project started back in 2005. Tulsa Island Shoreline Protection Commission, which is representatives from our town, Alderman Leonard, I think that's all Connie Tuttle back there, represent you on the Shoreline Protection Commission. This commission's been working since 2005 to get the federal project, which is a 10-mile long project, 4 miles of North Tulsa Beach. Finally, in 2010, 11 years ago, the project was finally approved by the Corps of Engineers, but not funded. We've been trying to get the project funded for the last 11 years. It has never made it to the top of the Corps project list. But with the Hurricane Florence Recovery Fund, Congress made $7 $750 million available to the Corps for projects they couldn't do before. And so at that point, we were able to get money for new start construction for the 50-year project. So it's been a long time in coming. If it weren't for that congressional appropriation under that Hurricane Emergency Recovery Act, we wouldn't even be having this meeting today. Okay, that was my education. All right, my comment. I don't know how many of you saw the December board meeting, but at that time, I strongly opposed creation of municipal service districts. Many of you in the audience today have expressed the same concern. I think that if we're doing projects in town, we're a small community, it should be the whole town paying for the project. Because as you have said in the comments we've heard, well, okay, we're going to have a municipal service district. Should we come up with the alternative for the New River Inlet being a terminal going at $10 million? Those people that are in phase one, which starts just down this way a little bit, are going to be then obligated to pay for the terminal growing. I don't think that's right. I think the whole town should be in this process together. That's why I oppose the idea of municipal service district. All right, I have one other thing to say, but I've lost my,
All right, 3 minutes are
my
up.
3 minutes are up.
Well, I'm thinking they might be able to hear me. Can you hear me? Yeah. Yeah, my husband says he can hear me all the time.
Bluetooth.
So can Bluetooth, I guess. My question is, just for my purposes here, can I see a show of hands of everybody that wants this federal project? The people that are here. I know it doesn't represent the whole town. Okay. How many people want to pay for the federal project?
Equally? Yeah.
In what manner?
Townwide, yes.
Yes. Townwide. Okay, how many people want to pay for, want the part of town that's getting the project to pay for it? Okay. All right, that was just what I kind of wanted to get from this audience. Most of the aldermen have basically said what I was going to say, but the whole town is going to be paying some portion of that because the parking money and the occupancy money will be going to this project if it moves forward. So the only thing that we have to make it up is homeowners' taxes. So I would gladly pay taxes, a higher tax, if I were getting that project in front of my house. I can just say that. Anyway, thank you for your time. Thank you for everybody being out, coming out, and your comments. It's helped me figure out maybe where we're going. Thank you so much.
What I would like to suggest is a 10-minute break. Thank you all for coming. We still have one more agenda item. You're welcome to stay if you like, but we'll take a break just to, for anybody who would like to. Enjoy the nice day.
Mayor, when we get back on, comment, I need to make.
I cannot.
2 o'clock tomorrow, Richard Peters Park Memorial Service.
I appreciate your response to my letter.
All right, Mayor.
Yes, Mayor. Mayor, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 168-537 subsection C, we were required to mail the property owners in the proposed districts notice of today's hearing at least 4 weeks prior to today. That did occur, and Ms. Hill, I believe, is prepared to certify that that mailing occurred. Ms. Hill, is that correct?
That is correct. I do certify that that mailing occurred. There was a little pocket in the neighborhood that claimed that they did not receive those letters. And so I reprinted and remailed those, and they did receive them.
If we could let the minutes reflect that Ms. Hill certified that all of the letters went out on a timely basis pursuant to the statute I just cited. And that's all I had, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
All right, well then we've got one additional item on our agenda today, which is change order number 4 to the existing professional services agreement between ATM and the town of North Topsail Beach. And Mayor Pro Tem, can you lead that discussion?
Certainly, Mayor. Hopefully you've all had time to read through that. This is just the next step in FEMA recovery program for Hurricane Dorian. The losses from Dorian to the beach were relatively minor compared to the losses from Florence. And so we just need to move forward to repair those losses. We've got Franway on if we have any questions from his scope of work proposal. At this time, from the board to Fran. Yes, Alderman.
I just actually directed at you just very quickly, as I read this and understand what you're proposing, we're gonna have to spend money doing this regardless. This is not, we spend this or we spend zero. This is necessary for us to move the project forward.
But yeah, it's part of the FEMA process. It's covered 100% by FEMA.
Okay.
And
Any
all
other
we're
questions?
doing is trying to combine to reduce some financial
Yep.
costs.
Combine them so that the construction costs will be less. We won't have 2 different startup and demobilization fees.
And
So
it can be done sooner. I mean, the Dorian can be
it will
done.
be added on to the Florence work because the Dorian work is category G. And the Florence work that remains to be done, part of the Florence work that remains to be done is the category G beaches, which are in phase 1 and phase 5. So it will be started in November is the plan for the work to start. That's why we need to move forward with this approval of the change of scope and have the attorney work up a contract to move forward. That's the next step, is to have an approved contract with ATM for their work.
Do we need a formal motion to approve this, or is it just?
I
mean, I can make a
Yes.
formal motion.
I don't know.
Yes, you do. You do need a formal motion and a formal vote to enter into a contract. And if you can make the motion as Mayor Pro Tem Benson just indicated, contingent to my review, I'd greatly appreciate it.
Make a motion, sir?
I would move that we approve as presented by Mayor Pro Tem with the one condition that the language be approved and reviewed by town attorney.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, well then I believe the next item is adjournment. Let me see, hold on, check in. Is it-
Fran, if you can hear
Yes,
me,
sir.
let's get together Monday and work on that. Okay.
We have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor? So wait,
Aye.
second.
Have a great weekend,
Second.
everyone. Thank you.
All in favor? Thank
Aye.
you, Brian. All right, adjourned. Thank you.